This is a 1-inch wooden cube, and it's replaced virtually all of the terrain that I use in Dungeons & Dragons. The main reason is versatility. Think of it like a Lego block or like a cube in Minecraft. Stack a bunch of these things together and you can build virtually any building or structure that you could possibly imagine in a fantasy campaign. They work especially well when you stack them together into sticks like this. Just add a little dab of wood glue to one end and press them together, and you're good to go. This allows you to set up buildings much faster, and it allows for overhangs and for archways and other types of constructions that you can't build with just individual blocks. Here's a pretty basic dungeon setup that I created using these blocks. As you can see, having the semi-3D terrain really adds to a sense of place. And because all the blocks are exactly 1 inch on each side, that means that they fit perfectly with that battle grid, if that's something that you use in your games. It's especially fun to use sticks of blocks as pillars, as in a throne room, for example, or even as tree trunks in a forest. It really helps with immersion and figuring out your character's real line of sight. If you need a village, just hand a handful of blocks to each player and have them design a little floor plan for their building, and then even go all the way up to the rooftops if you want to go full 3D. That's especially useful if you want to do a heist situation or a rooftop chase. Another type of block that works really well with this system are these standard Jenga blocks. And that's because, as you can see here, they are almost exactly 3 inches long by 1 inch wide, and very close to being half an inch tall, slightly more than half an inch, which is kind of annoying, but it's good enough for our purposes. These work really well as planks of wood or as steps. It might be worth looking into trying to find off-brand Jenga towers that don't have this logo on the side, but frankly, I'm not totally sure what the dimensions of those would be. You're really quite unlimited in terms of the types of buildings that you can make with this system. Here's a quick wizard tower that I put together in 10 or 15 minutes, or a jungle ziggurat for your players to explore. You can see that those Jenga tiles really came in handy for building all of those steps. There's other advantages to using these things as well. For example, the material. They're made out of wood, which means that they are essentially indestructible. You can chuck these things at a wall and they'll just bounce right off. Or after a long game, you can sweep them all off the table into a bucket without having to worry about breaking your terrain. When it comes to price, as you might expect, these things are quite affordable. You can get 100 of them for between $20 and $25, which makes them about 1/8 of the price of buying really premium dungeon terrain like Dwarven Forge, for example. And they're a lot more customizable to boot. Honestly, the biggest downside is that they look like wooden cubes and not like the really detailed and realistic terrain that you could make if you really set your mind to it, or that you could buy pre-made for you. But not everybody wants that or has time for that. Most dungeon masters just want to be able to set up 3-dimensional structures quickly and cheaply, and this system is probably the best way to do that. If you really want more detail, you could easily paint these yourself, or even spray paint them gray if you want stone blocks. But frankly, I really like the neutral wood color. I think it's very versatile, and it's really easy for players to project different textures onto it as you describe the buildings as being made of different things. Down in the comments below, I will put a link to where I found these particular cubes that I'm using. There's a lot of stores out there that sell 1-inch wooden cubes, but there's also a lot of variety in terms of the quality that you're going to get. You could easily get things that are not really 1 inch on one side or slightly misshapen and so on. And these ones have been very consistent and I'm really happy with them. Getting set up with terrain for D&D can be one of the most expensive and time-consuming parts of the hobby. So hopefully this video is a good starting point for dungeon masters who just want to get up and running fast and want a cheap, versatile system that they can use to make whatever they want. Let me know in the comments below what terrain system you are using for your D&D campaign and how that's working out for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.